Hello, hello. It's Adaire Palmer here, and welcome to Friday Facebook Fix. Now, today we are running a few hours late. We're actually doing a special episode of Friday Facebook Fix. Instead of 9:30 this morning, we are on at 3 o'clock this afternoon. We have the amazing Sean D'Souza here, the author of The Brain Audit, and I'm so pleased to have you here. Hello and welcome, Sean.
Hello.
The reason I have asked you to come on, I'm really grateful that you agreed to come and speak to us, is because I have been banging on about the Brain Audit to a group of people that I talk to people and teach people around Facebook. I've got a membership group called Breaking the Facebook Code, and the Facebook Code Breakers. And when I was introduced to your material about probably 6 or 8 months ago, I went from having an avatar that was a previous version of myself to going, oh my God, this stuff is brilliant. Really helped me get a laser focus on who my target audience is, or that.
Yeah, we'll fix that as you go along. It's not
It's a work in progress, and I've got some people here going. Linda is saying Linda is actually we can talk about it a little bit, but Linda is the person here is actually my target profile.
That's right.
Yes. We can talk about the difference, but this woman here is my real living, breathing person who I've interviewed according to your formula, which we'll talk about in a moment. We've got Theone here as well, and she says, glad I'm late. Who's late? And Michelle and Mary are in the green room. But first, Sean, I wanted to get some ideas and and have some conversations with you around the difference between target audience and target profile, because, well, first of all, why should we have them? Why can't we just do, if we're doing skincare, anyone with skin, or, any small business who needs social media, or anyone who wants to give up smoking or lose weight if you're a hypnotherapist? Why would we need to go that focused?
Because the thing with target audience, and what we have learned over the years, many, many years, is that target audience is the way to go. And it is the way to go. You start off with a target audience. You go, I want to work with teachers, for instance. That's the target audience. But then you want to work with Mary. And what Mary is going to tell you is going to blow your mind. So most people, almost without exception, we're talking almost like 100% hit rate of people who hate doing a target profile interview. And then you get a hit rate of people who finally get to doing a target profile interview. And they go, oh my God, why did I wait so long? So there's this concept of, I don't want to do this target profile interview. I'd rather sit with the target audience, which is really simple to do. I'll just aim at all teachers. And the problem is all teachers cannot speak to you. A target profile by the way, is like buying a gift for your mother, right? You're not going to buy a gift for every mother on the planet. You're going to buy a gift for your mother. And God help you if you make a mistake, right? So here's what happens is, when I wrote The Brain Audit, almost 20 years ago now, it was target audience. It wasn't target profile. But what we learned was that you cannot understand the mind of an audience, but you can understand the mind of Mary, who is a teacher, and then you get 1,000 Marys, and they all have similar problems. So, for instance, all teachers have various problems. And what you try to do is, you try to communicate to that audience, and it doesn't work. But when you go, Mary says, my kids are not unruly all the time, but just for 20% of the day, it's like a ghost has descended on them. Now you have 1,000 teachers across the planet who have exactly the same problem. And that's so what happens with an audience is, or an avatar or a persona.
I think we might have lost Sean. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I just said, you're just frozen up there for a moment. So,
okay.
So can we go back Yes, we've got you back now. So can we go back to the 20,000 teachers across the planet who have the same problem?
So they all have the same problem, and they're going to respond to you. And then maybe you solve another problem, and you can have another target profile. But in our case, for instance, we've run a business that has been what we call quite successful, in the sense that we benchmark our success by the fact that we can take 3 months off every year. We can stay in good hotels. We can eat well, drink well, etc. We don't benchmark on 6 figures and 8 figures and all that nonsense, because eventually what happens is you earn 8 figures, but you take home $6,000. Nobody tells you the second part of it, right? So the point is that if you get X number of people who are interested in that specific problem that you're solving, that's what target profile does. Target profile gets you 1,000 Marys, and that is what runs your business better than anybody else. You already know the specific problem. You get the wording for that problem. It's wonderful.
So when we talk about the specific problem, and it is something, like you said, it's gone that narrow. We've gone to the point where we're actually talking to let's say a teacher. I work with a lot of healers as well. I've got and people in alternative, like coaches and hypnotherapists, naturopaths, and so I guess if we can look at saying for people like that, would be the same whether, and I know in your in the book chapter 9, I think it was, you're talking about shoes for your wife, small shoes. So the formula that you have applies to basically every single industry, and it absolutely applies. So,
yes.
So I guess that the thing is when we get, and I know when I talk to people about getting people to really laser focus on one person with one problem. So that's the two sides that we need to pop together, isn't it?
Right. Yes. So you think of it as a dartboard. So target audience is the.
Theoni's being the clown in the background. You had me at shoes.
Yeah, I'll get back to the shoes. But here's the thing. Think of it as a dartboard, right? And if target audience represents the entire dartboard, but what do we aim for? We aim for the bullseye. And that's what target profile does. What it does is it gives you an understanding of a real person who has a real problem. And say, I don't know your field, but let's say you're a web designer, for instance, right? And now you go, what's the problem that everyone has? And your answer is, they need a website. You put that up on your website, do you need a website that looks beautiful? And you get no sales, and you get no conversion. And you think, why is this happening? Don't people need websites? But they don't need websites. What you're really looking for, if you look at someone like me, say 10 years ago, I had a website which was extremely frustrating. So I would go to the website, and the web developer had locked areas of the website. It was like going into a house where some of the rooms are locked, and you're the owner, and you don't have the key. There are hundreds of thousands of people who are running websites like that, which are being held hostage by the developer because they don't trust the client. So now we're talking about something that's very precise, and there are lots of people who do that specific thing. Talking about healers, for instance, I go to an acupuncturist, right? And what she does is, she gets to the root of the problem. So if you said, how do you describe the acupuncturist? I go, well, I went to other healers, other people, and sometimes they would fix it and sometimes they would not. But in this case, she figures out that the problem with my finger, the pain in my finger, is related to my lower back, right? So essentially what she's doing out here, what's really happening with the target profile is you're getting specific information, but more importantly, specific language that the client has, the specific problem, that language. So the client doesn't say, they say something like, I feel like a chump on my own website because I'm being held hostage. And you need to take those exact words, put them on your website, and you'll see how people react to it.
So you would say something like, do you feel like a chump with your own website because you haven't got access to all the moving parts that you need to?
See, this is the very critical part. You can't do translation. You have to do, you have to transcribe, not translate. So they say, I feel like a chump on my own website because I'm being held hostage. And you go, So that's how it works. I was once at a conference where I was explaining this thing, and this guy said, my staff, they're like robots. I give them, he said something, they're crazy. They don't move. They're stuck to their chairs. And the person on the board was writing, my staff, they're like robots. So they were translating, and you can't translate because the client is giving you the copy that you need for your website. They're giving you the copy that you need for your webinars, your presentation. It's when a client speaks, they speak with a great amount of emotion and frustration, right? So, for instance, I was looking at a video camera the other day. If you're shooting video, like look at you right now, okay? We're just seeing one frame of you. We're seeing one frame of me. Now imagine this were a movie studio, and you could see close-ups, mid-shots, long shots, all that stuff. There is a camera that solves that problem.
Yes.
Right? And someone has brought up that problem, which is, I can't do this stuff. It's driving me nuts to have 3 cameras running and edit everything.
Yes.
That's the kind of information you need to put in. That's the kind of information you get from your target profile.
And this is what Linda is saying. So use their exact words.
That's right.
So
exact words.
I think the other part of that you teach us also is to get their feedback. So we whether we do it in that interview or go away and write the copy and then take it back to them. And I remember when I was actually have you on audio, and I remember listening to it and going, all right, now we need to watch their face. So do it, you can see whether they're sort of frowning or whether they're going, yep, that's what I meant, and you can actually get that feedback.
Correct. Because they correct you. Yeah. It's almost like a language, if you go and speak Spanish and you use the wrong tense, they correct you. And you have to listen for that correction. You have to go, okay, so what did you say? And they go, no, this is what I really meant. And these are the words I really want. And they will keep needling you until you fix it. And if you're obstinate, they'll just give up on you. And then, of course, you will fail again. But that's your...
Well, some of us are slow learners. So, Sean, I have Michelle and Mary in the green room or the lobby. I'm going to pop Mary in and we'll have a quick conversation with her. She did say earlier that she is really keen to get a laser focus for her target profile. Are you happy to have a chat with her?
Yes, I am. Yes. And I mean, we've got some, I can run you through like the recipe that really worked for clients of ours, the questions that they asked. We can have all of that stuff if you wanted to.
Beautiful. I just do want to shout out to Sean that I have put a link to your book. Actually, your web page that's got your book on there. If people just type in yes in the comments, it would give you. I'll send you a link in my messenger. It will come straight to your messenger. The magic of chatbots, people. Just type in yes and see what happens. You'll get a link that will take you straight to Sean's website, and you'll be able to explore more about the Brain Audit, the book. So, yes, Mary, welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Mary.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
Okay, so Mary, did you have a question?
Oh, well, yes. Lots. The clients who I work with, I'm a musician and a healer and a coach. And the clients that I find are most drawn to me have an array of issues, ranging from they're at the deepest level. It's about self-worth and self-love, but it manifests in 4 ways. One is in body issues, body rejection issues. One is in having loving relationships. One is having money problems, And the fourth one is a lack of meaning and purpose in their lives. So because they have these certain mindset blocks, it manifests in those 4 ways. And for years, I've been trying to figure out which one of those areas which woman I should be targeting. But I think I've come down to the fact that their deepest pain is around money issues, I think. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay. So the thing is that if you're going to target people with the money issues, then you're going to get most of the. So think of this as a movie, right? You're about to shoot a movie. You have several actors. You have a lead actor, and then you have what is the extras or the supporting cast. Okay. What you want to do is you want to go, okay, who's the lead actor? So say your lead actor is body issues, and they talk to you and they're pain about body issues. Now that is one point. What happens to the supporting cast? Do we just throw them out of the movie? We don't. We keep them in the movie, but we bring them in later. Okay, so we start off with, the body issues. So maybe this client of yours says, the body issues is driving my relationship crazy. Maybe they mix 2 things together. I don't know, right? Because I wake up in the morning, I look in the mirror, I get mad, I scream at her, I scream at him, and then after that, the whole day goes bad, right? Now, that is the main problem. And then you go, are these body issues driving your relationship crazy? And then she'll tell you this stuff, or he will tell you this stuff. Not me. I don't have these issues. I can only make it up. This is what copywriters do. They make it up. And this is why it fails, because the exact words and the exact emotions don't come in. Now, once you've finished with that, you bring up the solution, which is, presenting, blah, blah, blah. And they will tell you, okay, this is how my solution would look like. They tell you, the clients will tell you, if it were a perfect solution, this is what it would look like. And then you go, this program also solves 1, 2, 3. And there's your supporting cast. Now, that is your features and your benefits. You can take a paragraph each or a couple of paragraphs to explain what your supporting cast does. Your main hero is going to take 1, 2, 3 paragraphs. Your solution is going to take a couple of paragraphs. Your supporting cast is going to come in after that. You still want to throw stuff at them? Put in the bullets. Put 50 bullets if you have to. You have so many points to cover, put in 50 bullets. Mm-hmm. That's what we do. Like we're doing a landing page workshop in Singapore, Brussels, and Houston later this year. And the first thing I get them to do is write 60 bullets. Like if you can't write 60 bullets, maybe you can write 50. But the point is, when they go, they write 40, sometimes write 50. But what it does is it brings out all the points that your program, your course, your training, your service solves. And then after that, we can work with it. Now, what I'm saying is that your client will bring up the problem. They'll bring up the solution. They'll tell you how to solve it. They'll tell you what, if I were to write a magical testimonial for you, here's what it would look like. They will do the entire brain audit, and you don't have to do anything. And if you're a traditional copywriter, and I used to be a traditional copywriter, so I'm not berating copywriters, then you will sit in your office and you'll make up this stuff. And it's much harder, it takes much longer, and usually it's off the mark.
So how does that answer your question, Mary? Is that...
Well, that sounds really good. I did take a bunch of notes then. Can I just ask one more thing?
Sure.
I think the thing I hear first from people is that like they're mainly change makers, people who want to make a difference in the world, but they are stuck and they can't figure out why they're so stuck. So that's one word that they're always using is stuck. And then when I dig deeper, it turns out that they have visibility issues because of the body stuff. And yeah, that's actually the next thing that comes up is the visibility around their body, not feeling good enough about themselves. But the first thing is around the wanting to do more with their life, wanting deeper meaning and purpose, but feeling stuck when they try to take their steps. So I wonder if that's who I target instead of the body issues or the relationship issues or the...
Yeah, so the point is that maybe they feel stuck, but they have a hidden cause. Just like my finger, remember? My finger is hurting, but it's a back problem. So
Right.
you know, that's the kind of analogy that you've got to have in your story, which is you're stuck, but there is some hidden factor that's slowing you down.
Yes.
So yeah, look at her eyes go.
Yes.
So
Yes. And because I do mindset work, I'm a mindset coach, so I know where all those things are hiding.
Yep. So that's it. That's your solution. You're a mindset coach, but they will tell you this. Your target profile will specifically tell you. You know, in your testimonial, they'll say, you know, I didn't know where this problem lay, and you told me exactly where to find the problem. I thought, I mean, I want to, you know, conquer the world. I want to change things, but I don't know where. I didn't know that the problem was somewhere else. And that's why I was stuck. Once I got rid of that problem, you know, it's easy.
Yeah. Actually, you know what it is? It's the money blocks, Adaire. It's the money blocks. That's the cause of it, actually. Okay.
So the next steps for this would be for Mary to identify one person. Is that what you're saying would be the next
Yes.
step?
So what you're doing is you have to find a target profile that's unintimidating. You know, a client that you're who has the money, has the problem, is willing to go through it. Don't take just anybody off the street, because you're going to get speculation, right? Somebody with the real problem, with the need to change and has the ability to change. Then you ask them for a time, like maybe 15 minutes on the phone, to ask their opinion, ask if it's okay to record the call. So you can do this either in person or over Skype, for instance, or any other system, to make sure that you're recording the call. And then have predefined questions. So do not interrupt. This is very important. You're like a negotiator here. You're just listening and listening and listening. You're not trying to drive them down any pathway, nothing.
Yep.
And then you tailor the questions as they change it. But essentially, you're asking them questions like, what problem were you trying to solve? Can you tell me the process that you used to achieve XYZ action? What was hard about it? What is easy about it? If you were to look for this information online, what keywords would you type into a search engine? You know, describe. So, but you're going through kind of questions like this. But even if you say, oh, wait, I don't have all these questions written down, follow the brain audit. So the brain audit tells you, what was the problem that you're facing? What would your ideal solution look like? Then you go to, what are the objections that you have if someone were to present this kind of course or treatment to you? What is the risk that you feel? What is, if you were to kind of design something that was absolutely unique, what would it look like? So essentially what you're doing is, the brain audit consists of 7 red bags, as it were. Problem, solution, target profile. Objections, risk reversal, testimonials, and uniqueness. Don't bother writing everything down. I'm sure she's recording. So,
yes, it is.
so the first part of the brain audit is about getting the attention of the client. Problem, solution, target profile, right? And then you have the risk. The moment someone says yes, they get very scared. It's almost like a proposal. Oh, this is so great! Wow, wow, wow! And then, oh, I have to do this. So
it's like we're getting married.
Right. So they bring up the objections. They have risk factors. They have a unique. So it's uniqueness, and they want to give you a testimonial. So that's it. You know, it's 2-part. The first 2 parts, rather. The first part is getting the attention. The second part is getting rid of the risk. So you have to. So when you step through the target profile interview, as it were, you can simply stick to the brain audit, and that will lead you. They will just talk for like 45 minutes. You'll wonder why you didn't do it before. Yeah.
I already am.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. That is awesome. And Sean, that's a really great insight into that, the actual how. And I would have to say, I'll just pop that up there. Type yes below if you haven't already. I'll send you a link into your messenger. The Adaire bot is alive and well and busy at work. It's an automated, semi-automated, because I actually, when I do go in there and I respond myself. So if you type yes, you'll get a link to the website, to Sean's website, which gives you more information about the Brain Audit. And I would say, get the book, get the book, get the book. So, Mary, thank you so much. Really appreciate you popping in and sharing. I do have a couple more people sitting in waiting. Have you got time to have a chat with Theone? Because I think Theone's got an unusual situation that I think we could run past you. And
yeah, I've got time. Yes.
See if you can deal with the curly ones. Appreciate your time, Sean. Really do. So, hi, Theone. How you going? Long time no see.
Hi, Adaire. Hi, Sean. How you going?
Hello. Good, thank you.
We may as well move in together, Adaire.
Yes, well, we actually, she just put me on her fundraising committee, which is why I thought this afternoon perhaps you could talk to Sean about potential target profiles. So I'm going to let you go for it and see if Sean can shed some of his expertise, or share some of his expertise around what your, yes, go on.
So short version, because I know we haven't got all day, is so I've got a committee together. We're organising community charity events, and last year we had a ball, and I'd like to double our fundraising target. So the money's going to, not to us, it's to a charity, so to Kidney Transplant and Diabetes Research Australia. Now my query is, selling tickets to an event, you can advertise something anywhere, but and we'd like anybody who's interested in coming and having a good night to come along. But my real target is people with deep pockets and long arms. So
short pockets and long arms.
Well, short pockets, long arms. Sorry. Well, not too short that the net's falling out and we can't catch them. So, for areas of, we're looking at sponsorship, but also people who just want to donate, come along and donate, who will also spend money on the night as well. Because quite often people will come to an event like this and, they've spent perhaps $160 or whatever on a ticket. And then they've had to buy themselves an outfit to go or whatever. They don't have any other money to spend on the night. And while you still welcome those people to come along, because you're not going to be exclusive, you still would like half the room perhaps to be with, people who can afford to spend, or even donate, and also to donate the bigger ticket items for your silent and live auctions, that kind of thing. But without sponsorship, you're covering costs with the monies you're raising as well. So last year we did get some sponsorship, but it didn't cover, I wouldn't even say it covered a quarter of our costs. So that's one of the main things. So how would, it's easy to get people just for attendance and to fill the room. We can target people who were kidney transplant recipients or who have diabetes, but they're not necessarily. So we want to look at how do we attract the business people who have the ability to give to the cause. So what would their pain point be to want to donate to this? So we're raising awareness for a specific disease, but the money is going to Kidney Transplant Diabetes Research Australia. So, the business person that we're targeting may not necessarily be affected by kidney disease or diabetes, although statistically they probably are, but we don't know that. Right. So how do we...
So one of the problems... Okay, this is...
feedback happening there.
Yeah.
Can you turn your volume down a little bit, Theone?
Yeah, I think Theone's... Yeah. All right.
Just turn it down a little bit. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Okay. So the problem is that as a donor, you feel that your money is going to waste, and there are certain situations where you have to deal with not the problem, but you have to deal with the biggest objection of the target profile. For instance, if you deal with, say, an agent, a real estate agent, all real estate agents will say, oh, we're working for you. Who believes that? Nobody. You know they're not working for you. So the first thing you need to do is you have to look at what is their biggest objection. And this is one of the bags in the Brain Audit. In certain cases, you have to bring up the biggest objection first. It's like every time you dig into your pocket to donate to something, they blow up all their money on phone calls. They blow up all their money on other stuff, and 2% of your money goes into the actual fundraiser or whatever.
Yeah, we can already debunk that with this one in particular. We know, and it's written on their website, 100% of everything donated to them goes directly to research, because their administrative costs are covered by the program they're affiliated with. So
right,
we can already debunk.
This is my objection.
Yeah.
So what the most important thing is that in this case, it's not so much a problem because they already have the money and they're willing to give you the money. The problem is that I don't believe that my money is going. So the objection needs to be upfront. You need to say, you look really stupid today, and why is it? I'm sorry, I'm just making up stuff. This is not a good one. So when someone comes to me and says, we want some money for cancer research, I worked with companies, with organizations. I knew how much we collected. I knew how much they blew up. So my objection is bigger than whatever I'm going to give. I'm not going to do it. So what they need to do is they need to step up and go, every time you dig into your pockets to willingly donate, you run into this idea in your brain that all of it is not going to go to money, to whoever. And now this is going to depend on your target profile. That one person who is going to give you the money, you go up to them and you say, we know that you give the money, but at the back of your head you have this nagging voice. What does that voice say? Every time you dig into your wallet to give the money, and they'll tell you what it says. And everybody like them will think exactly the same way. You need to go, and that's the bigger problem. Here, in this case, the objection is the biggest problem. Not because they don't have the problems that other people have, which is you give the money or the need is not good or whatever. They just, you kill this objection for me, I'm good.
Yeah.
And this is more a negotiation problem than anything else. You have to understand what is going on in their head. If I say to you, for instance, I'm going to give you tickets for, say, a movie tonight, Black Panther, right? Tell me right now, what are you thinking?
What's Black Panther?
Okay, right? Okay, let's assume that you know the movie, right?
Okay.
What's going on in your head right now? What are you thinking? Do I want the tickets? You have to use them today.
Yeah, I'd call Adaire and see if she's free.
Right. So see, you see what's the first thing that's but what happens even when you're giving something away to someone free, they have objections. They're going, I have the kids.
What's the catch?
Yeah. What's the catch? Where's the, where do I keep the kids? Maybe it's from a friend. Maybe it's I have 2 spare tickets. You go, well, I'm not ready for this. So I would say go and do a target profile interview, just like Linda is suggesting. Go and do a target profile interview and ask them, what is the biggest objection every time you dig in your wallet for their money? And they will tell you. And that's what you need to tackle straight away, because they don't have a problem giving the money. They have a problem with what you do with the money. So it doesn't matter what you say. They will tell you how you should solve their problem. They will say, this is the kind of statistic that I want to see.
Yeah.
They will tell you that stuff. You don't have to present anything to them. They will tell you, this is how I'd like to see it. Maybe you put a graphic, maybe you put an Excel spreadsheet, maybe you put some words. They will tell you what they want to see. And recently, for instance, I gave to someone and they said, look, this money is not for cancer. It's not for whatever. It's for when people have cancer, they go through a miserable time. And what we do is we just make sure they have a good time while they're going through that treatment. And what he said was, the only reason you want to give this stuff is because you want to sustain it for 2 years. Because if you give it for 3 months, it's pointless. Well, that got my attention. It's like, okay, so these people are in it for the long term. Every time my wife asks me, what are we paying this for? I go, because of this, and we have to keep it going for 2 years. I'm like a parrot that says exactly what he said. But they've done some talking with their customers, and that's how they know that. Right? And if you just make it up, it's not going to work, because every single charity is going to use the same words, and it's not going to cut it.
So we go back to the best sponsor from last year and talk to them and use their words. Let me get this right. We transcribe, we do not translate.
Yes.
That's
so
right.
it's like when you do an interview, you transcribe it. You get a transcription.
Yes.
And
you don't translate.
Yeah. No translations.
Okay. So if I know that that's going to be the obvious objection, and I presented to them and showed them exactly where their money would go, would you say be upfront with that before they can even say, this is all I'll give you, or no, I can't give you anything?
The first thing that you need to do this in stages. The first thing you need to do is go to the previous person or the person who you think is the target profile, find out what is their objection. Okay. How they would solve the objection. Then that becomes your script, which goes, I don't know, webinar, a sales page, a door-to-door script, or whatever.
Yeah, so just ask them up front what their objection would be before I even approach them for anything.
For the target profile. Yeah. And then when you meet with potential donors, you go, most of our donors have this one big problem. It's not that they don't want to give money. It's that this problem bugs the hell out of them. And they go, that's right, right? They don't say you're right. They say that's right. They're not saying...
They're not my words, it's... Yeah.
Correct, yeah. So when they say you're right, they're agreeing with you, but they don't agree with you. When they say that's right, that's when you know it's fine.
Yeah.
That's a very good tip. That's
actually extremely helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It is. Thanks, Fiona. Appreciate that you popped in. That is awesome. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you later.
No worries. Bye. Thank you.
So for those of you who have just popped in, this is Sean D'Souza. He is the author of The Brain Audit. He actually wrote it 20 years ago. I didn't realise it was that long ago. I was introduced to The Brain Audit about 6 months ago by the lovely Michelle Stanton, who is also in the green room below here. If you want to have a look at The Brain Audit and have a copy, get your own copy of it, just type in yes below and you can you'll be sent a link which will take you to the website with more information. So Sean, that's really awesome. Do you have a couple of minutes and we'll just bring Michelle in to say hello? That's cool. I do appreciate your time. We normally go for half an hour, but I think this is so awesome. Getting some really good stuff happening and some real generating some huge interest, because people they go, my target audience or my target profile or anyone, it is anyone and everybody. And I think you really helped me to really get a laser focus on, and I'm still getting it. Sometimes I just get a little wobbly around the corners, but I always come back to your stuff and it really gets me refocused. Michelle, I would love to thank you for introducing me to Sean's work.
Very welcome, Adaire. And I want to thank Sean for doing the work and creating this body of amazing stuff. Sean, I worked in marketing strategy in corporates for about 10 years and then ran my own business for quite a while. And I must say that when I picked up your book, probably about a year and a bit ago, it was such a light bulb moment. Marketers are always talking about, what's the benefit? What's the benefit for your target audience? What's the benefit for your target audience? And you're so far off the market, it's not funny. So when I read your work, I thought, oh my goodness, every small business person on the planet really needs this book and really needs
a lot of my clients get upset with me. They go, you should promote yourself more. You should be better known. What have you been doing for all these years? But, the point is that if I go out there and stand on stages and travel and do all that jazz, there's no time to refine what you learn. You're just marketing and just making more money. And we don't need to do that. Let's put it that simply. If you do good work, you get more than enough to have a very good life.
And also, you've got the book out there, Sean,
yes.
And so people can gain access to that.
Yeah,
and so I think you've done your part for the world.
Okay,
and,
thank you.
And there are other people like me, that can introduce others to your work when we see that our friends or clients need a helping hand and need to get their target profile very, very specifically clarified in their mind, because they can't do anything until they get that right. So no use making a website.
The beauty of it is how you feel, right? When you do the target profile interview, as I said, there's like a 100% resistance from everybody. And then there's a 100% oh my God factor from everybody. Mm-hmm. And I can't solve this problem because I have to get you to do it. So the only way you can say, wow, this was amazing, is to do it yourself and feel that change. So it's amazing.
Yes, but it's like a magic once you've done it. And you
yes.
think, oh my goodness.
I love it. It is like magic. Yes.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Sean.
Yeah, it's probably frustrating for people who haven't done it. They're going like, what is this I have to do?
What is it? Just type yes below. For anybody watching the replay.
What are they talking about? What is this? This piece of cake that everyone is eating and I'm not getting to eat it. What is this stuff?
Well, lift the lid on that. People can get their own cake. They don't need a piece of cake. They can have the whole friggin' lot. So if they just grab your book. Georgie's saying the beauty of this is how you feel when you do your target profile. It is...
Sorry, Adaire, Sean's got a fabulous community group. What was it called, Sean?
It's called 5,000 BC. 5,000
yes,
BC.
5,000 BC. Yes. So if people wanted to get a bit more help than just reading the book, they can register as a 5,000 BC member. And I became a member a little while back, I think maybe a couple of years ago, and it was very, very inexpensive for what it is that you provide. So I think that that's another resource. I know you can't help everybody one-on-one, but I think that the 5,000 BC is there to help.
Well, if you tag me, see, when you go into a lot of membership sites, the business owners are very overwhelmed. And so that's one side of it. The other side, they're told, okay, you have to make, $700 million before you die. So they go on one of those missions, right? My mission is slightly different. I'm like trying to find the answers. So I'm like a computer coder. I want to improve the version. That's why the Brain Audit is version 3.2. It's like, I want to refine it. So if I don't answer the questions, I don't learn anything. So that's why I'm in, if you tag me, there is no way that you will not be answered. And that is probably the uniqueness of 5,000 BC, that no question goes unanswered. And in great detail. I mean, I will write, sometimes people will ask, what's this thing? And then I'll write 3 articles to answer one question. So,
I know exactly what you're talking about. And I think it's fantastic that you do that for your members because small business people need help.
I do it for me. I don't do it for you. Sorry. You got the wrong idea. Do it for me.
Well, you all benefit.
Yeah, I do it for me because I want to find the answers. You ask the question, I have the answers. But if you don't ask the questions, I can't write an answer. So that's
So,
yeah, I'm like a little bigger boy there, going, give me questions, right? But
is that your lolly shop? Is it? Questions are your lollies. Is that your sugar fix?
because I can't think. 5000 BC is not on Facebook, by the way. 5000 BC is a separate forum. Facebook drives me crazy at some level because you can't find stuff when you want to, right? And now in 5000 BC, just the forum has over 250,000? No, it's 315,000 posts. So that might intimidate you, but it's not. You ask your question, you get your answer, and to hell with all the other posts. You know, that's the beauty. But the second thing, and this is probably the most critical thing, is that people feel happy when they're connected to people who are kind and helpful. And so the community becomes the critical thing. That's the most important thing. Yeah. So that's what we do.
That's awesome. So that's all on your website? Is that a private membership site? Like a...
Yes, it's a separate website. It can't be indexed, and Mark Zuckerberg can't take it down if he feels like, you know, he's having a bad day. Yeah.
All right. So we've got people saying, where do we find the community? It's not showing up on Facebook. So Linda, it's not actually on Facebook. It's on a private website.
Yeah. It's on 5000bc.com. Yeah.
So it's 5000 BC.
And just to make your life really miserable, you can't join today. You have to pay. Yeah, you have to pay $10. You have to get on a waiting list. We make you wait for 21 days just so to test your patience. You know, because we don't want people who want to make money overnight, who want to do everything overnight. We want patient, gritty people. So we make them wait for 21 days, and then you get a notification once. You know, like you're on this call. Oh, this is so exciting. You know, I have to sign up for 5000 BC, and you do nothing.
Yeah.
You wait for 21 days, you think about it, and then when you join, you're more likely to succeed than if you just do it right now in 5 minutes.
Yes.
You can only get on the waiting list, and the waiting, it's only for 21 days. It's like a cooling off period. It's not a real waiting list. It's a cooling off period. And you have to pay $10 to be part of that cooling off period. How cool is that?
I love it. You qualify your members, says Linda.
Yeah.
I think I actually think the whole idea of having that really turns it on its head, because it says it's something that people will go, this is quality, and if I have to, you know, go through this process to be accepted in, I think then it sort of puts it at front of mind as having a bit of a priority and having quality about it as well.
Yeah, but Sharon, most people, what they do is they look at the price, which is a little less than $300, and they think it's $300 a year. Michelle will tell you, it's a month. They think, I'm going to get all this stuff, and it's going to cost me $300 a month, and it's $300 a year.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's your call. I'm not pushing you to do anything. Don't join anything. Don't buy anything.
Don't push anybody to do anything, Sean. I'm the one who had to mention it. It's like the world. I'd just like to say that I have been on the site, and I have read the responses that you have been giving people when they ask questions. And that's the nicest thing as well. You don't have to sometimes ask questions of your own, because other people ask very similar questions to what you've got.
Yeah,
and so what you can do is go there and do a search and find out what's going on. And you've got a fabulous podcast as well. I think it's the 3-month holiday or something like that.
Vacation, the 3-month vacation. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the 3-month vacation, and that's a fantastic podcast that you have that people can listen to. And you know, Sean, I have had memberships to many different so-called marketing gurus everywhere. And I find that whenever I listen to anything that you produce, it's very, very high quality. You provide a perspective that cuts through a lot of noise and really gives you the heart of what it is that you need, and make things really simple. So thank you very much for doing that.
Because I believe, thank you, I believe I don't actually care much for marketing. Marketing takes a lot of time. I care more for, like, for instance, if we're selling a workshop or an article writing course, it sells out in 20 minutes, right? If it sold out in like 8 weeks, I would have to market for 8 weeks, right? I have to think of my ad campaign, my affiliates, my everything, right? It gets done in 20 minutes. Now for the next 8 weeks, I can prepare myself and you for this event. Eventually, what we're looking at, we're not looking at getting more information. We're getting skill. So when you finish an article writing course, you can write. When you finish, people join a cartooning course. That's like the ultimate challenge, right? I can't draw. Well, do the cartooning course and look for yourself. In 6 months, that's exactly what you do. And people are amazed. So we deliver skill, not information.
I love it. I think that is awesome. So,
I'm doing a whole pitch here. This was not supposed to be a pitch.
I brought it up because I really think that people need to know what resources are available. And as I said, there's a lot of information out there. There are a lot of marketing gurus out there. And what I really, really like about what you do is, as I said, you simplify things and have an amazing perspective, which really gets to the heart of the matter and explain it really simply to people who really need to know how to do that. So coming from a marketing background myself, I've read tons of marketing books, and I've been around the block a lot. So I don't say these things lightly. And you're the last person in the world to want to pitch anything to anybody, market yourself, or any of those things. So I've come on board here today to make sure that the listeners of Adaire get a chance to understand some of the wonderful things that they can do with you.
Thank you. And if you still have any questions, I'd be happy to. I mean, I don't know. I'm not reading the comments or anything because they would distract me like crazy. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I think you've picked up. I just say thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate you taking the time to pop in and sharing some, and actually prompting the pitch, whatever it was, because there's some things there that I've learned now that I'm going to go and have a look for and a look at. I've been so focused on the brain audit, I've been almost to the exclusion of everything else. So I'll just be stalking you a little bit more, Sean.
Yeah, that's fine.
And seeing what other goodies you've got. So thanks, Michelle. Appreciate your time. And I'll just pop you back in the lobby now. See ya. Bye. If anybody else has any other questions for Sean, now is your time. We'll wind it up now. Just a recap, Sean D'Souza, the author of the Brain Audit, and also has a forum called 5000 BC. I'm curious as to why 5000 BC. Has anybody ever asked that?
That was the whole reason. Most people ask that. That's because nothing has changed in psychology for the past 5,000 years. So what we're doing is we're just tapping into what we already know.
Okay.
But we're using different media. That's all. So
we are.
Yeah. So that's it. It's that simple.
So I do have one question for you myself before we do wind it up. With the advent of social media, because when you wrote the book, we were still advertising in the local paper, and the idea of actually having a spot on a TV show or a spot on an advert that actually even looked remotely like an advert on TV was something that was probably $50,000 or $60,000 out of our budget. So when you were talking about target profiles, absolutely critical then. With the advent of social media, would you see it as even more important to get really laser focused on that one person?
Yes. The first thing is that this is version 3.2 of the book. So that came out in 2009, which when we were well into social media by then.
Okay.
Blogs were out, Facebook was out, even Google had come. Google was now getting to be an old person. But
Facebook's still an adolescent. But yes, I get what you mean.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. It's always been critical. If you go back to David Ogilvy, back to, say, the 60s, he has some ads, and you can check them out, and he's using the same concept in print advertising. It's not that the noise factor has increased. It's not that the overwhelm factor has increased. It's that the distraction factor has increased. And so if you can't get your message across the first time, it's very likely that someone's going to go elsewhere. That's it. There's no overwhelm. You could go into the library 50 years ago, and you couldn't read all the books in the library. So there was overwhelm there as well. But now there's distraction. And so what the Brain Audit does at a remarkably cheap price is show you how to cut through that distraction. Because what the Brain Audit tackles is just one thing, which is hesitation. A customer is ready to make a decision, but then something trips them off. What is that something? And it could be any one of those 7 red bags. Because the analogy is very simple. It's like you get on a flight, you put on the 7 red bags, you get off the flight, you're waiting for your bags, right? You take off one bag, you take off the second bag. And the point is you get 6 bags. So when do you leave the airport? You leave the airport when you have all the bags. And that's what happens in the customer's brain. They have information that's missing, and they have information given to them in the wrong order. And that causes the problem. So it's not that you don't have a great service or a great whatever, product, but that you have missed out information or you have put it in the wrong order. And that's what the Brain Audit sets straight. It says, get rid of the hesitation because they will buy stuff themselves. They want to buy stuff. You're not letting them do it.
Yes, yes. I think I just found it so refreshing to when I looked at that. And I've been actually part of other inner circles that I paid a fairly hefty fee to be in. And they were talking about, I think I said earlier, having an avatar, having a previous version of yourself. And I loved what you said very early in the Brain Audit was having a previous version of yourself is still not. Right. It's still because you're not that person now. So you need to go to the person where the problem lies right now, today. So and that was a huge eye-opener for me. And I thought, wow, this guy's onto something. So I've kept you for an hour. I did say half an hour. I really appreciate you extending your time to spend with us and talking with us, Sean. It is absolutely awesome. I do appreciate that. Did you have any closing comments that you'd like to make?
Okay, ask me a question. I don't know. Well, what I would say is, I would say that the target profile was probably an eye-opener for me as well, because I just thought that the target audience would do. And I've been in advertising. I started out in Leo Burnett, which is one of the largest agencies in the world. So I started out as a copywriter, and no one told me this stuff. And I had to figure it out through trial and error as we went along. And to this day, when I'm writing a sales page, when I'm doing a pitch, I call a client and I speak to them. So I'm not just saying, you should do this. I don't do it. I'm really great. I'm awesome at this. No. I'm saying this is exactly what I do, because almost I have a lower error rate because I'm listening to clients all the time, reading their posts in forums and stuff. But I would say at least 30% of the time I'm getting it all wrong, like completely wrong. There was a situation, to give you an example, there was a situation where the economy was going bad, and I said, if you want to improve your website with the economy going bad, blah, 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 you should, come to this course. And I called up Molly, who was keen to do the course. And she says, Sean, I don't care a hoot about the economy. What I care about is that you have, at that point I had 10,000 subscribers. She says, you have 10,000 subscribers, I have 500 subscribers. Tell me, can I be profitable? So I took that on the page and said, most people talk about having 10,000 subscribers, you have 500. can your website be profitable? You want to come to that workshop now, don't you? See?
Yes, yes, because that's what hits home, isn't
Molly.
it?
That's Molly. You're Molly now, right?
Yes,
and everybody listening on this is also Molly. Yes. But I didn't say that. I couldn't make it up because I was not in that mindset. I already, when I had 500 subscribers, I was not even selling anything on my website.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I can't dream this stuff up. I have to, recently I got onto Instagram. Like, I couldn't figure out I'm a whiz at technology, but I couldn't figure out the Instagram app. And my, I know. But now I have 3 Instagram accounts that I update every day. The point is this. The point is that when people say, get 500,000 people, 500,000 followers, my objection is 500,000 followers might have been great in 2014. What am I supposed to do in 2018? Right? That's my problem. If you solve that problem, then you're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay? So my nieces are calling me. They have a cartooning class right now. I teach them every Friday. So
awesome. Yeah. Well, I do appreciate your time.
It's ringing right now.
I've just ignored a phone call from my son, so he's had to walk home from school, but his legs aren't painted on, so he's okay. So thank you, Sean. I appreciate your time very, very much. And we'll look forward to, especially in the Facebook Code Breakers, of having a robust discussion about what our learnings are from today and from when people they've already downloaded your book. So I think we're just going to have some real fun getting that into action. You may even see some more applications for your 5000 BC membership forum as well. So thank you again. Very much appreciated. Thank you, everybody who jumped in and asked questions and contributed. I really appreciate it. If you're watching the replay, type in yes, and you can get a link to the website for Sean's book, The Brain Audit yourself. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.